In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how I find support and resistance levels before I even think about taking a trade. Whether you're new to trading or you've been trading for a couple months, this is the perfect video for you because if you can master this skill, which is it's not hard to do, the biggest thing is to be able to execute in your head, right? Follow your rules, follow the plan, and just stick to it. I'm going to show you exactly how I find my levels every single day because basically it's pretty simple, right? The resistance is your ceiling and your support is your floor. It's also known as like supply and demand. So you might hear those terms as well. But just think of your support as your floor. So you throw a ball down on the floor. What's it going to do? It's going to bounce, right? Same concept in stocks. It's going to hit the floor. More than likely, it's going to bounce. Now, you got to keep price action in mind when you're using support and resistance because sometimes it won't care about support and resistance and it will slice through it like it's butter, right? So you have to be aware of price action along with support and resistance. So resistance is like your ceiling. You throw a ball against your ceiling, it's going to bounce down. So it's going to come down. So at resistance levels, that's where all the sellers are stacked up, right? Now your support, that's where all your buyers are. So when I find support and resistance, I use the 4-hour time frame. I'll zoom out, find about 3, 4, 5 touch points, and then I'll do a zone. I'm not going to do just one single line because it's not just one exact price, right? It's not one level, it's a zone. You got to think of it that way. So let's dive into the charts and I'm going to show you exactly how I find these levels so you can start using them today to make money. Okay, I have the QQQ pulled up on the chart with the 4-hour time frame. So we're going to find our support first. Remember, this is where all your buyers are located. So this is your bullish bounce area. So let's do our zone. We'll look for at least 3 or 4 touch points. So we got one here. We got a spot here as well. There's 3, 4. We got plenty of spots in this area. So we have a lot of confluence for buyers to be located. So this is going to be our zone right in this general, right there. Because you can see we bounced out of here, here as well, here so far, and we rejected here previously, and there as well on the underside. So it used to be resistance, and then we made it support, right? Because once you break through your resistance, you want to wait for it to come back down, confirm that it is now support, and then that's what you would take your entry if you do break through. But let's not get too carried away here. So this is gonna be our support, right? So let's do our resistance, which is going to be the exact opposite, right? So you want to look for touch points. We have one here, rejection here as well, here, there. We have plenty of areas of confluence in that general area, right? So this is going to be our resistance because you can see previously we pushed down and bounced right there as well. So there's lots of touch points in this general area. We rejected here and then so forth back in this area. So right now you can see QQQ is located in some support. So we should get a bounce out of this area back up to our resistance, right? So this is the general way I will find my support and resistance depending on what ticker I'm going to trade for that day. But I'm going to set my levels so that way when I go into the day, I won't have to go searching trying to find it. I already have it set up so I know what I'm looking for. Now I'm going to go to the 15-minute chart and I'm going to show you exactly what I look at when I'm actually taking a trade. Looking at the 15-minute time frame, you can see this is where I will execute my day trades when I'm looking at taking a day trade. So you can see now we are in this zone, right? So we should be bullish here. Unless price action starts to show us otherwise, we should get a bounce out of here. You can see we had this big spike up and we've kind of like flagging out now. We got another big spike up. I would like to see us continue this bounce from here, especially since we are in this zone of support. So let's zoom out a little bit and just kind of see how we've kind of reacted in this general area. So you can see how many times we have not been able to get across this level, right? So this is definitely resistance in this general area. You can see we've gotten a little bit above it and rejected and came back into our zone here. So this is definitely a great level of resistance at this point. And this is going to be a great level of support. You can see how many times we've bounced out of this area, right? Here as well, bounced out. This was support. Now it's turned resistance, right? Because we are underneath it. So anytime price comes down to this zone of support, if I'm going to take call options, I would do that. Or you can enter stock actual equity, right? And you could ride it up. Now, I wouldn't hold all the way until it hits your support or resistance. I would wait, let's see how price is acting. And then if it starts to look, if you're going up, if it starts to look weak, you might want to take some off or take the trade off, right? Especially if you're green on it. Don't ever let a trade go red. Now, on the opposite end, if you're coming down and you start to look more bullish, then you might want to get out of your trade if you're in puts or if you're shorting the stock, right? So you always have to be aware of how price action is actually acting to certain levels. Now, in one case, if we get a bounce out of resistance, so we broke through here, right? You see this, if you chase this, you just lost a lot of money because look at this big red candle. Now you want to wait for it to come down, test your resistance, make it support, and then bounce. That's when you would enter your trade when you started to continue back up, okay? So don't just think because it breaks support or resistance, it's going to keep going. Sometimes you'll get liquidity grabs and it will go through a level and then come right back in, right? So just be aware that that does happen. And this is basically how you'll find support and resistance. Let's go to one more ticker to get a different example, just so you'll get another feel how you exactly do this. I have NVIDIA pulled up on the charts. We're going to look for support first. And remember, it's going to be a zone, not a level. And support is where the stock is going to bounce in most cases. So let's do our zone. We're going to look for touch points. We got 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5 touch points, if not more, right? So this is our zone of support in this area right there, because you can see we bounced here as well and along here. So this is a good zone of support. So now let's do our resistance. So you can see there's a touch point, this general area here, and then we rejected there as well. So this is definitely going to be a good area. Because you can see we rejected there actually today. So we're actually hitting our resistance and coming down, it looks like. So now that we are in our 4-hour time frame, we're going to zoom back out and go to the 15-minute time frame, and that's where I'll actually execute day trades off of. So let's jump into the 15-minute time frame. So looking at the 15-minute time frame on NVIDIA, we can kind of see how we could execute trades, right? So you can see right now we're into resistance. So I would be thinking to take some puts here, which is a bearish bet, right? And then as soon as you get closer down in this area, I would think about getting out because you're getting close to support. You don't wait till it automatically just hits that area. You might want to, especially if it's a day trade, you want to go ahead and get out a little before you actually hit your resistance or support, right? Unless you see confirmation or you see price action is telling you differently, okay? But this is a great area now that we have to set to be able to day trade off of for the day. So that's how you set your levels to be able to make your money during the day. You wait, you stay patient until you actually hit resistance or support. You're not going to do what they call diddle in the middle. So the whole time you're in this general area right here, you're not taking any trades because there's no clear direction. You wait till you hit a zone, then you see how price reacts, and then you take your position, right? So you have to be patient in trading to be able to execute and make money every single day without just getting lucky. You have to have a skill and you have to be able to, stay calm and actually execute, okay? And that's exactly how I find support and resistance levels every single morning before I start trading. I live stream every single day starting at 4:30 a.m. If you're up that early, make sure you check it out because I go over all my levels that I'm going to use to day trade off of. I go over any kind of economic news that's going to come out for the day, and I answer your questions, especially if you're new to day trading. And if you're not up that early, you can always check the replay so you have the levels for the day. We'll see you in the next video.